What's up, guys? I'm Kyle, also known as the Panda Man. In today's video, I'm going to tell you about triangle of fasting. Before I get into the 3 phases of fasting, mind, the body, and the spirit, please like this video. If you find it useful, leave a comment or a question and subscribe to the channel. All right, let's get into it. So most people diet. Now, why do they diet? They want to transform their body. If you're anything like me and your experience has been one of following the traditional model of dieting, the North American dieting system, where you cut calories, try to burn calories, and you play this game, right, where you think that it is the simultaneous path. Now, what that means is exactly that. I do this and cut this, then this should happen. Now, you all know that it never works out long term. This is why diets have over a 90% failure rate. The metabolic rate is going to slow down to match what you're putting in. Hunger hormones are going to go up. Fat storing enzymes are upregulated. Fat burning enzymes are downregulated. This is why when I was getting ready for my bodybuilding shows, it would be so treacherous and difficult to get shredded. I was fighting an uphill battle. I was swimming upstream. I was making fat loss harder. Metabolic rate was slowing. Nervous system activation was coming to a halt. And I experienced that the first time I competed, because after that show, that week, I put on 30 to 35 pounds, and it was not good weight. I could actually feel, I remember I was playing in a softball game, my heart and my legs were swollen, and my blood pressure was shot because I trained the body to just store everything that was going to come in, because I was in such a restriction for so long. Now, each time I went to compete and to get ripped, I would have to go through the same process, and it was miserable. I want to get ripped for summer, even if I wasn't competing in a bodybuilding show. It was just a bear, which made me want to just live for my cheat day. Like, I look forward to that like you wouldn't believe, my cheat day. And now I keep the cheat day and the cheat meal within what I teach with the Panda diet, just for psychological reasons. But it's no longer an all-consuming thought. Take it or leave it. Doesn't really matter. Not a big deal. So with fasting in the physical body, your body is going to transform. It's a different metabolic pathway than traditional dieting. With long-form fasting, now throw out the concept of a 16-hour fast. That's not going to do anything for you. I'm sure people are going to put in the comments, oh, it's great, I do it, blah, blah, blah. I did that for 5 years. I'm telling you from experience, it's not going to make a dent in the universe of your body. Long-form fasting, however, metabolic rate actually goes up because of what's going on with the hormones and the mitochondria. Hunger hormones go down over time. Your main fat-burning, your fat-burning enzymes are upregulated. Fat-storing enzymes are downregulated. So we start to use the anabolic principle of insulin to our advantage. We limit it majority of the time, which allows us to start tapping into our body fat. We have to give the body a reason to tap into body fat. Body fat is a food source. That's the main thing that it is. And then when we have proper training set up and we feast, we use the anabolic principle of insulin to drive those nutrients into the muscle cell rather than the fat cell. Because remember, anabolic means growth. Most people experience the anabolic effect of insulin by growing their fat cells. Not a good thing. Not what we are after. So your body's going to change. You're going to get to enjoy what you eat again. You're going to look forward to this feast. It's going to be an unbelievable experience. Imagine feeling like every meal you ate was the best meal of all time. That's how I feel when I eat. It's a true blessing. And that's the way it's supposed to be. Rather than eating mindlessly, counting your carbs and your calories and micromanaging your food. You know what the number one way to boost your metabolic rate is? By eating more. Not more often, more. So you build your appetite. So that's the first reason you got to really examine and look into fasting and start your fasting protocol. You're going to transform your body. Now, this has a compounding effect. You're going to get to a certain weight. Like, I've been at 225 for the past 6 years now. But the body continues to transform as you work the program. You're going to get to that set point, but the hormones will keep working. You'll get leaner and leaner, more muscular. Your pumps will get better. All this stuff is yours for the taking. And you're going to be liberated and freed from the prison of dieting. Now let's go on to the second aspect of fasting, the mind. So let's talk about the mind in fasting. Now, you can learn quite a bit from traditional dieting. I learned a lot about food. I learned a lot about willpower and why willpower is not necessarily the best path to go down with any thing we're trying to form a habit around. Anything that's purely willpower based, your brain will reject, will not form a habit around. So let's keep that in mind. When you start fasting, again, most of you are going to start fasting because you want to transform your body, which is great. That's why I started. But it soon became apparent to me with all the mind map stuff I study that environment number one in mind mapping, the inner dialogue, was getting a workout every single day when I was hitting these long form fast 48, 72s, OMAD, 1 meal a day. Because food is a drug. There's many times throughout our day where we're stressed and we would like to just have a feel good, pick me up. Some people turn to drugs and alcohol, traditional drugs, I should say. Not realizing that food is a drug and it's a pick me up, right? It gives us a big hit of dopamine. But that doesn't align with maybe the physical goals that you have for your body. So then you're caught in this conundrum. You set out, I'm going to eat really well. I'm going to try to get lean. Man, it's a tough day. It's a stressful day. Let me just go have some food. But don't forget what you're signaling your body to do at that point is to store and to hold on to. So then you start really focusing on this inner dialogue, this mindset. I'm hungry, but what is hunger? I've got all this extra body fat on me. Why do I feel hungry? And you start to reframe hunger. Hunger becomes what I teach my clients. Think of it as an emotion. Think of it as a feeling. It's going to come and go. And also, hunger is largely dictated by your emotional state and your sleep patterns and stress. But now you start to master that inner dialogue. Then you start really advancing on the path of self-mastery. And that's what it's all about. If I tell my clients, listen, we're going to get this 100 pounds off you, whatever, but fasting is really the greatest self-development tool that I know. It's not for the weak of mind. And you might start and stop. You might slip up. Now with the mind, too, this trains the mind to get really good at making decisions. You're building mental muscle every time you hit a longer fast. Now, this panda is not the black or white version, but part of the reason I chose the panda as the symbol for what I'm teaching is a black or white aspect. You're either fasting or you're feasting. No middle ground. When people leave the gray area on the table, let me just fast and I'm going to see how I feel. It's not going to work. And once you realize this, you start to realize there's no other way but to commit. It's black or white. Doesn't matter what you're feeling like. And then guess what happens in the rest of your life? Decisions that you have to make become easier. You start working that muscle every single day. And mentally, I always thought from day one when I started long form fasting, hey, this is giving me a tool. This is building mental muscle. It makes me tougher than the guy across from me. And it was just a fictional scenario in my head, but it was true. Every time I did it, I'm building mental muscle. I'm committing to this. I'm doing this. And I love to eat, guys. So I don't want to hear that you love to eat. I have a voracious appetite. I have a legendary world-class appetite. I can put food away like nobody else you've probably ever seen, which is another part of the reason why this is so beautiful. When I go to feast tonight, I'm going to train some clients in a little bit and take Braxton to basketball. Man, I am going to feast. I'm going to put down and fuel up for tomorrow morning's workout. So that's really the mental aspect. Now, let's talk about the spiritual component of fasting. The Bible talks about fasting many times. Many religious texts talk about fasting. Think about fasting in stillness. Be still and know that I am. When you're fasting, you're making a sacrifice once you get to that level. And you're going to go through this transition where you see that it's body, mind, and then you realize it's just a gateway into the spirit. You're going to go through this process. You're going to realize it's a sacrifice. And every day, whether you fast from food or something else, you can commit that to God. You can ask God for help in your journey and on your path. Now think about how the devil, Satan himself, tempted us from the very beginning with food. It was the apple in the Garden of Eden. It was Jesus in the desert, fasting 40 days, 40 nights. The devil comes and tries to tempt him with a loaf of bread. It was food. So food is one of the biggest weapons that the devil has. The devil doesn't want you fasting. When you fast, you get clarity of mind. You become a healthier version of yourself. You become more connected with God. When those times get tough in your fast and you focus on the inner dialogue, but you need another level, what do? You turn to God. Turn to God, you ask for help. You commit your fast to God. You're going to be at more peace. People are going to realize there's something different about you. You're no longer under control of the drug of food. It's meant to be enjoyed, but it's not meant to control you. So imagine that. What other diet out there can hit on mind, body, and spirit like fasting? There's nothing I've ever come across. Nothing I've ever come across. And when you want to start getting into longer fasts, when I did my 10-day fast, when I did my Indigo Panda, no way I was getting through that without God's help. I was putting my body through something extreme. But even then, looking back on it, it wasn't that hard. So I committed it. I made the decision. It's black or white. When any vice has control over us, our spirit is going to be dampened. and our heart is not going to feel pure. For most of us, food is the thing that has control over us. I hope you give long-form fasting, what I teach with the Panda diet, some serious thought. I hope that it is something you try and you adopt into your life. If you're interested in it, you can get my free book. Check the pinned comment below. Let me know any questions. Appreciate your support. Peace.